It's okay. Hey,
Hey,
Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey, and we are the Markout Movie Podcasters. What are we doing today, Aaron?
We are discussing People Under the Stairs, the 1991 film.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Uh, not John, but Wes.
Wes.
Uh, People Under. Yeah, it's a 1991 film starring Brandon Quentin Adams as Fool. He. You might know him mostly from
Mighty Ducks.
Sandlot. Sandlot is his biggest film, I think. I know Mighty Ducks. He's in the very first Mighty Ducks. He
First
wasn't in
two. First
was
two.
he in the second one.
Yeah,
Then they replaced him essentially with Keenan Thompson
yeah,
after that. Because they just couldn't really. He, you remember the other kid that was in the Mighty Ducks? The kid that was also in Heavyweight. He was in the very first one. It wasn't in the
yeah.
rest of it. Yeah, they had already a character like that, so they just moved him. And Goldberg. They changed Goldberg to someone else who ultimately was Goldberg uh, in that movie. But yeah, he was in this, but I know him the most in Sandlot. I like him in Mighty Ducks, but I think about him in Sandlot, and I think about him in the Michael Jackson video "I'm Bad." But when there was kids doing it, he played Michael Jackson, the kid version of Michael.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't remember
uh,
him in the Sandlot though. I
he
remember the
was.
main boy and the guy that could hit the home runs. Oh, and
He,
Smalls, the guy that says Smalls. You're killing me,
yeah,
Smalls.
he was and then you probably remember, yeah, yeah, who I was repeat, yeah, 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 but yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
just I I just know Mighty Ducks more. I watched that quite a bit more than I liked Sandlot though. It was a great coming of age story.
Um,
You know.
but yeah, Brandon Quentin Adams, shares your namesake, Brandon, portion of it. Um, and also it stars Everett McGill, who we just saw in Silver Bullet, and here he
Yeah.
plays man. I'll call it says man is his title, but essentially he's called Daddy throughout the whole movie. Uh, so he was pretty good in it. He's very unhinged. Uh, it seemed like he had fun with the role.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
He
then
had fun.
the woman, she's called woman, but mommy, mommy is Wendy Roby. Um, I hadn't really seen her. Honestly, I hadn't seen her in anything else. I know she was in Twin Peaks. Both of them were, but I never really watched Twin Peaks, so I can't speak of that. Um,
Were they married in Twin Peaks?
yes,
He's cheating on her with the girl at the waitress at the
I guess
diner.
so. I ain't
It's
never
been a
seen
long time
Twin
since I've seen it, but
Peaks.
I
Did you
thought
just
they were
spoil?
married in Twin Peaks, but I
Did
just
you just
couldn't
spoil
remember.
Twin Peaks for me?
It's I, I I would think you would have seen Twin Peaks. It's one of the most intriguing shows
I've never seen it.
ever. I mean,
Never
but it
seen. I've
took
seen
me like,
the first episode. And that's it. I remember
oh
him
man,
liking the pie or something like that in the diner. That's all I remember.
first season's amazing. Second season's it's okay, but once you get to the later episodes, it really gets back to what it was like in the first season.
Did you
I
see the
haven't seen
re?
the new one though,
Okay,
the
that's what.
last season.
And then we have AJ Langer as Alice. She was also in. I can't think of everything that she's in, but her most famous thing is My So-Called Life. I've never seen that. And also, she's Utopia in Escape from L.A. So she worked with Carpenter, and she's
Oh,
in Baywatch as well, which I've never really watched Baywatch.
I
So.
haven't got that far. She hasn't showed up yet in Baywatch, which I haven't
And
watched Baywatch in a minute, so I need to get back
and
to it.
Ving Rhames is Leroy, this is probably one of his earlier roles. Uh, Sean Whalen is Roach. He's most known as What would you say John Wayne is best known for? Is it would it be Twister?
Would it be what?
Twister. He was also in Jury Duty with Pauly Shore. Uh,
I haven't seen those.
uh,
Did you say Twister?
Twister, yeah. Yeah,
Like
Bill
the
Paxton.
Oh, he's in that.
Yeah, he was one of the storm chasers with.
Oh,
He's,
I think. Oh, you're talking about him. I thought you were talking about the guy that was working with Ingrams. Oh, I know what
no,
you're talking about. Yeah, I would say as a side character in Twister. I mean, hey, Twister had the most lovable characters I've ever seen in a big movie. So
you
many
know what?
great side characters.
I give this man props. Sean Whalen.
Yeah,
He has worked in. He's worked with like he worked with Wes Craven in this. He worked with Tom Hanks in That Little Thing You Do as a heckler. Uh, he was in Twister, so he worked with the late great Bill Paxton. Um, Never Been Kissed. With Adam and Drew. Uh,
Adam.
yeah, Adam Sandler. Never been.
Adam.
No, it's not Adam. I'm
Drew,
sorry,
you got Drew right.
Drew, but not Adam. I keep. I don't know why in my mind I
I
remember.
think I think it's David Arquette
Is
plays the
David in
brother.
there?
Yeah, he's not the love interest, but he's like
No,
the brother.
yeah, yeah. But my point is this guy. He was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know if it's the game or what. But anyway, uh, he's worked with a lot of people. Um, but yeah, Sean Whalen's in this movie as Roach. Uh, one of the One of my favorite characters in it. Bill Cobb as Grandpa Booker.
I
Are you
love.
familiar with Bill Cobb at all?
Yeah, he was in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. No,
He
he's
was.
been in a lot of stuff that I've
He's in
seen.
the Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
he was the guy, the old officer that remembers Stallone when he was back on the force.
yeah. Like
Um,
I love his voice. It's
yeah.
just you. He kind of like in his older age, he reminds me of Morgan Freeman today a
hmm
little bit.
I don't think he's working anymore. He's still living, I guess. Um, but yeah. And then I want to mention two more people that I've noticed in here that I want to point out. Kelly Jo Minter as Ruby Williams as Pooh's sister. This lady worked with. She is an alumni of Nightmare on Elm Street. She was on Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I want to say 5 or 6. I confuse those two. She's the one that was like the diver, like the swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
And remember when she dived into the swimming pool and then like Freddie tried to pull her under and stuff. I think she survived. I think she's one of the only black characters that actually survived the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Uh, but
I mean,
also
just
she's in
Joe
Half Party.
Kincaid, but you know.
Yeah, well, he survived, but then he ultimately died.
Well, because
The,
he
the,
came back.
yeah,
It's a rule in the sequel. You don't come back if you survive the previous film,
this is
unless you're Jamie Lee Curtis.
unless you're I would have said unless you are the core people from Scream, but they killed off Dewey.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, um, but we have a new Dewey. But okay, uh,
Do
but
we
yeah,
though?
I hope he does. Also, the Stairmaster in this movie, the one that kind of took on the lead of the people that's under the stairs, Jan Birch. Uh, he's in this film. He's actually a friend of mine on Facebook. So shout out to him being in this movie and working with Wes Craven. So that's pretty awesome. Um, I want to say this real quick. Uh, Wes came up with this idea, reading, seeing a story on the news where two black guys uh, broke into a house to rob it. And but upon breaking into it, they found out that the kids were being kept in the basement. locked up and chained, you
Yeah.
know. And so that became a story. The irony is they went in there to rob him, but then they found out that, you know, that something nefarious is happening there.
Yeah.
Um, what was your thoughts on this being this was a very early uh, turning it on its head of the home invasion story. Kind of like if you think of Don't Breathe, it's kind of like an earlier version of that, as far
Yeah.
as like the idea of being breaking into a house and then the rest of the movie essentially is you trying to survive, you get out.
Yeah, I was thinking of Don't Breathe quite a bit while I was watching this, and I was like, they just did it so much better. But I mean, for its day, you got to look at it that way. Yeah, it did a lot for the home invasion subgenre. Really, I mean, I can't. And that's kind of his thing, though. He did the same thing with The Last House on the Left. That's essentially becomes a home invasion movie itself, except the bad guys are getting killed. but
Yeah, I can see that.
but
He,
I don't know.
he the archetype or architect rather of that type of genre, then, right?
Yeah,
You think about it.
yeah. I would say he's the architect. But I really like the setup in this movie, though, with Ving
Mm-hmm.
Rhames. Like I was on board with his when he was on screen. Like he made it interesting for me. I was his motives were interesting, and I was on board. It kind of reminded me of that movie we watched, the Five Bloods.
Mm-hmm.
Once he bites it,
You lost
I lose
interest.
interest. Yeah, and I
Okay.
love the. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I love fool run, and the dude from Twin Peaks and Silver Bullet. I don't know his name, but he's like, "I'm not a fool" or something like that. It's like, who are you calling a fool?
Who's the
It
fool?
just
The best fool is dead fool. You know, like,
But
but
I
yeah,
love the interaction there because he's thinking he's talking to him and he's talking to the little boy who's named
mm,
Fool. It's just it's a weird name, but
well, he says in the exposition at the very beginning when they're doing the tarot card, he says, "I am." Your name. She says, Your name is Fool, but you're not like the dumb kind. But you just don't know everything yet. You know, he's young. He's a very young guy. Like here's what I love about this movie actually is that West. First of all, West, you know, tackled a urban type of film with a predominantly black cast. Well, I won't say predominantly black cast, but in a black setting. He dealt with the uh, the home market crisis, the landlords like pretty much doubling rent to knock people out so that they can tear it down and build condos and the gentrification that happens in a lot of black neighborhoods and stuff. So he tackled a lot of stuff that was happening in response to what happened in the late '80s and to what we noticed in the '90s with like movies like Candyman and things like that, with like projects and Harvey and things like that. So I give Wes credit on like being like ahead of the game with
yeah,
that. I would say that yeah, doesn't it. I found it very interesting. Certain things. It's not a perfect film, but I thought it was very interesting. I thought the cast was good, and Wes Craven was a heck of a director as far as like the way he moved the cameras, the way he crafted, he wrote this, the characters he created. He allowed them, like, I believe Everett McGill, who played Man or Daddy, just I can guarantee you, he had a blast doing this movie. Like,
oh
it looked like he had so much fun.
yeah. I mean, he's great in it, and I would say I'm not familiar with all his work. I mean, I know he did Silver Bullet, he did Twin Peaks, he's done this. That's about all I know. But I
Yeah.
think he had a really good time with this. Um, he's menacing. He's insane. He just and his sister's insane too. I actually always thought they were a married couple, though.
But I think they're incestuous. I think they get it in.
They get it
But
in.
yeah, but I think that they are.
They went
It's,
there.
yeah, it's there. It's there. It's what they do.
I don't want it to be there.
But it's there. But I will mention, as you said, Vin Rames. Ving Rames was uh, for for this film. I think this, like I said, he got this film in '91, and then he got Pulp Fiction in '94, and that's kind of where he blew up at with
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Also, I forgot he was in Bringing Out the Dead. I would love to revisit that movie with Nicolas Cage.
Okay. I
Uh,
thought that was with Nick as the
yeah.
EMT.
Oh man, it was crazy. It's trippy. I remember. But yeah, but I think he kind of got it. This was like his introductory type of film. I might be wrong. If he did something before this film, I'd love to know that. But yeah, he was a character that he wasn't a great man. Like
No, no.
but but also you understood why he felt the way he felt. As far as like, hey man, these people had their neck, had their foot on our neck, and driving us out, and they don't do nothing. So and they have a lot of money. Why not take that
Yeah.
money?
I looked
Yeah.
at him as being realistic, honestly. Like Fool wanted to be a doctor. Is like, with what? How are you going to afford to go to school? You, I mean, your mom's got cancer. You're being kicked out of your house. How are you going to go? You ain't going to go. You're going to get into drugs. You're going to be selling this. You're going to do what you got to do to survive. And I just thought, because he knew the kind of life that the kid was going to have to live. I mean,
Mm.
with no money, no, and possibly his mom could die. I mean, it just he knew the road he was on, and
Realistically, like
yeah,
and what you said makes sense too. Like he might have been that same type of kid at one point that had
yeah,
aspirations of doing something bigger and better, but the reality of where he lived, he's like be real. You're not gonna do that. You can't afford it. You don't even have food and stuff like that. And you're
yeah.
about to be why don't you do something that you can why don't you do something that can help you now, you know, and help your mom
So
now. You know.
yeah, and so that was going to lead up to them robbing the landlords who have people under the stairs. I never have. I don't know. The concept sounds really good. I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't think it was executed right. I don't know. I mean, I get what they're doing. They're basically.
It was
Correct me if I'm
perfectly
wrong on
designed.
this. The
It
people they
wasn't
have under the stairs, they're basically eating them, right? Is it?
well, no. So what they're doing is so they have been stealing kids from the neighborhood, and they won't. It's like I heard a reviewer say it like this, and it makes sense. It's like in 300, the way that the Spartans would disregard the form kids or the just those kids that have disability or whatever, how they disregard them. Um, this is like how they do. So they're still a kid, but if the kid isn't the perfect kid that they want them to be, they put them under the stairs. And then they just lock them up, and they go steal another kid and just keep the process. But then every time they do, but they do take kids or take people from the neighborhood. Like they literally feed on the poverty and people that's in the neighborhood. They feed on them, eat
Yeah,
them, and feed them to people. And I'll also venture to say that other people have tried to break into the house and they've killed them, you know, and just kept the same process going. Um,
yeah. I
but
when
they
it
do eat people. They're cannibals.
Yeah, when I saw the cannibalism, that just made me think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that aspect.
Mm.
Nothing else, really. I mean, just that aspect. They eat people, but I don't know. These two people are completely insane. So I
Yeah.
like. I like how they were portrayed in the movie. I thought, they did a good job as far as the actors go. They did a great job playing these two completely nut jobs. Uh,
And him too. Yeah,
and they made it more fun, but I think my issue with the film is it's it's not as dark as I was hoping it would be. And I remember thinking that the first time, but I was thinking maybe I don't really understand this movie either when I watched it the very first time. I understood it a lot more this time around, but I was wanting a more darker tone than it actually was. And when Ving Rhames was on screen, it felt more like that tone. But when the kid kind of took over, it felt lighter. And I
yeah. It felt
understand it,
more like
but
kids horror film in the sense of with Brandon Fool
yeah,
uh at the him. What I was going back and watching this, what I wish had happened was the whole movie would have been Ving and Ving Rhames and Fool. Leroy and Fool trying to
yeah,
survive and get through the
I think it
house.
would have been better.
But but I guess for Fool to know that no, they are really in a bad situation. Somebody had to die. Well, in the case, and the other guy is just forgettable. Uh, Spencer,
Yeah.
uh, Jeremy Roberts.
He's from
Uh,
something though. I've seen him in other
he,
movies that
he's in the Mask. Herbie Fully Loaded. Star Trek. I don't know.
I've seen The Mask. That's probably
Yeah,
what it is. He's probably playing one of the goons in
yeah.
The Mask.
But yeah, I think that. Oh, you know who's in this movie as a young cop? Uh, uh, he's the guy. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking his name is Josh Cox. I thought he was somebody else. I'm sorry. I thought he was that guy that's always wearing makeup and playing like different type of characters in like movies. Uh,
What, Johnny Depp?
no, 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 no. He plays like in a lot of horror movies. Uh,
Is he a stuntman? More
yeah,
so? Okay.
yeah, yeah. I can't think of
Was he
anything.
in the Bye Bye Man?
Yes, that guy. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's not him. But anyway, um, I, I I wish the Ving Rhames would have survived, but I understand why he didn't.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I understood it storyline wise. I got it. It's just he was really captivating to me, and I was
I've always been okay with him dying though, in a sense. But the person I wish that had lived was actually Roach. 'Cause I always liked Roach. I thought that he's the one guy that was a part of the children under the stairs, the people under the stairs that got out and has been living in the walls
yeah,
and surviving in the walls. And he's in between worlds. He's in between being where the girl is, where Alice is. She's still a captive there, uh, and being with the rest of the cage captives underneath the stairs. Where he's in that middle, and he's been a nuisance to Daddy or the man um, since So, but I hate that he died, but I always liked his character.
yeah. I would say his character is the most compelling character for the people under the stairs. Really, he's the only one besides Alice that gets any real screen time.
Hmm.
I mean, so I think that's my issue also is with this movie is it's called The People Under the Stairs, yet we don't really get to know the people under the stairs. But and again, when it's called People Under the Stairs, I'm thinking they're going to be the villains. When I hear this title, they're going to be the monsters that come out, and they're not. That they're innocent, and it just took me back. It's like, oh, I get what he was doing, but
Yeah,
I
it's a
wish he
great
would have
title.
spent more time with them so we got to know them.
Yeah, it was a great title. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree with that in the sense of I wish that we um at the end, like when Fu first meets them, he sees them as, oh, they're gonna kill me, the
Yeah,
threat, and that gets to, and also maybe that's Wes Craven playing with the idea of prejudice and passing judgment
that's true.
on people uh and without knowing, uh like assuming that people are certain things, because the man and the woman are clearly racist,
Oh,
because they said that
you don't
they
even
want
have
they want they want clean people to move into the neighborhood.
clean
Uh,
people.
yeah, so they meant white people.
Oh, I
But
know what
yeah,
they meant.
but,
They say
yeah,
the word quite a few times in this movie.
yeah. But yeah, but I think what that was is Fu saw them as monsters, but then through uh his relationship with Roach, he started to see, well, no, they're not monsters. You know,
Yeah, they're victims.
yeah, they're victims. They're
Yeah,
all victims. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's compelling. These two people, that got these people under stairs, kidnapping people, eating people. I mean, I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of like, I would have been interested in a prequel to see how this all started with these two
Mm.
people.
Well,
How were they raised? I mean, it
we
had to
got
be something that happened at childhood.
we got the exposition as far as like, so they started out as a family on funeral home, so cheap coffins in the black neighborhood for people. But then eventually they came into real estate, into owning real estate businesses like liquor stores, pawn shops, things that keep people impoverished in their type of situation. And then hotels, not hotels, but apartment buildings. And then what they do is they raise the rent, and they have a clause in the contract that says if you don't pay double the amount, then we can evict you. You'll be out
Yeah,
on the street. Then they're gonna come by, scoop them up, eat them, things like that. And just like it's. But then they get richer, and they're literally feeding on the getting rich and feeding on the backs of the poor. Which I didn't think when I watched this movie when I was younger. I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I thought that first of all, I was like some of the same arguments you have. I was like, yeah, they're not really they're not really monsters or doing anything. They should do more for people on the stairs. And then there's always this one scene at the very end when they bust out and stuff. One of the guys clearly looks like he has a mask on. you know, and I didn't understand then that yes, he does have a mask on. I thought that was supposed to be his face, and I was like, that's a mask. But now I understand that. But I look at it a little bit differently now, knowing like about like housing markets and things like that and what they do. I see it in that. I see where he's going. Did he completely execute it? I would say no. But was it enjoyable? I had fun with it, especially with uh man or daddy, and I really had fun with him. I thought that he was so. I loved how unhinged he was. He just, he, I loved it. I
you
loved
love.
that. Love him in
I
that.
th-
Yeah.
I think he was really good. I mean, I really do. I think if that's what you're watching for, a guy that's unhinged and completely a nutcase that eats people, that kidnaps people, that keeps people under stairs, that you know
Each people.
goes after the poor, evicts them. I mean, if that's what you're, if that's why you're watching, you're gonna have a great time because he's a scumbag, he's a nutcase, he's psychotic, he's every name you can think of. He is it.
He's Val. Very Val. Yeah. Uh,
And
and then the mother, the woman, at the very end, she became even more like unhinged. I love the like when she tried attacking her with the knife and things. Uh, and I wish there would have. another part I wish it would have happened better was when she seen that the whole neighborhood was there. I
Oh
wish
yeah,
the whole neighborhood would have kind of went to the house, and 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 then like it would have been like where she's dealing with the neighborhood, and then also the people on the stairs. Maybe
yeah,
that would have been really cool.
yeah. I mean, they West should have done more with the people, the community in that scene with her, just with her in general. But I will also say this: I like the dog in the first act. They have a dog that attacks people as well.
Yeah,
So I like the dog. He gets Ving Rhames a couple times, and I just like the dog. I personally don't like those type of dogs, Rottweilers, but he's a Rottweiler, I believe.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe not.
My wife loves those actually.
I can't stand them. I'm afraid of Rottweilers. It has nothing to do with any movie or any show. My uh, cousin used to have one, and they just scared the daylights out of me. They fast and they got big teeth, and I just don't like them.
Okay, then that's cool. Um, I will say this too. I did. So they're remaking People on the Stairs,
Are they?
which I'm okay with it because it's
I don't know why.
if a movie doesn't completely hit the mark for some people, like it's a cult classic. I would
Yeah,
agree that it's a cult classic. But if it didn't completely hit the mark, and then I'm okay with them somebody remaking it and actually taking it another place, maybe making it more horror, making more, actually,
yeah.
like it could be. It doesn't have to be the same type of story. You can make it totally different. I don't
But
know.
will they though? I
It will.
feel here's okay. Here's what I feel when they do Wes Craven in general. Okay, they did The Last House on the Left, which I prefer the remake over the original because it's just not as violent or vile or whatever word you want to use during that scene. It doesn't feel like it's real, and it's more entertaining. I think it's more fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare on Elm Street, I hate. I just hate it. It felt like they took the same script and they just added a little bit more CGI for today. In 2010, and
Dude, Freddie was terrible.
I mean, I don't mind him as Freddy, and I do like the changes they made to him as Freddy and what he was, because everybody assumed that's what Freddy was anyway. But it's just it didn't take any chances. It just pretty much was trying to copy and paste the original film
Mm.
with worse actors. Um, like I think the best two actors in that movie were the first two people that died in the movie. So and then he did The Hills Have Eyes. I thought that was a great remake. But I don't know if you're gonna take chances with it. Sure, I'm on board. But if you're just gonna copy and paste, what's the point?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if you do a remake now, you are expected to take chances.
Yeah, I
You are
mean,
to do something different.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
Hills Have Eyes did a little bit different. I believe Last House on the Left was a nugget different. I like the microwave scene with the head.
I don't even remember the remake as much. Like I haven't seen. Maybe there's a one and done for me. I've only seen it once in my life.
I've,
I haven't
I've
seen
seen
it
it twice, but the microwave scene just stuck with me. It was just cruel, but they deserved it.
again.
I mean, but it was just cruel. But I mean, if you take chances, like like they did with Hills Have Eyes, because I mean, a lot of people love that movie. It was one of Wes Craven's first films. I mean, it's just, and they did a really good job with it. Actually think it's better than the original, but
Mm.
the sequel's not. But both sequels suck. So you know,
And I don't know where I would take a remake. I would say for sure I wouldn't make the focal protagonist be a kid, like a kid. I think that I would make it a little bit more. I don't even know if I even focus on people breaking into a house to rob something. I think that if anything, uh, it it if they do this, they need to give me a right credit. What if it's them literally take stealing right when they stole a kid or something from the neighborhood, and or they steal a kid from the neighborhood, and the kid's sibling or something sees who took them, and then like nobody believes them or something like that. Maybe that he's trying to break in to try to save his sibling, but at the same time he's in a house of horrors. Or what if you are that sibling and you're in this situation, and then you get put, or you notice there's people in the stairs, you start seeing the chaos that's happening. I don't know. Uh,
I think the problem though, remaking this movie is it's coming in with, Don't Breathe is fresh. It's got a similar concept. It's just
yeah,
if
but
people are not familiar with this movie, they're gonna be thinking, oh, they're ripping off Don't Breathe.
that's
Uh,
true. I can understand that. But unless you do something different, if you're doing a home invasion thing, then yeah. But
yeah,
if you do a different thing, then it'll be fresh.
yeah. I mean, I'm all for if they do something different. I hope they bring Ving Rhames in as a cameo, though. I mean, that'd be cool. I
Yeah.
love seeing Ving. I mean, I'm a really big fan of his.
I would love to see Zing take the place of Mr. Bill Cobbs as far as like the grandpa or something like maybe because he's now at that state in his life where he could pull off being a
Yeah.
granddaddy for the character. Um, I like I've always liked Ving Rhames. I always enjoy seeing him and stuff. Um, uh, he's now married to this Mission Impossible series.
Which
Essentially.
I mean, it's good for him. I mean, it gets a lot of money. It's keeps him relevant and to get more roles. I mean, I'm happy that he's still working after all
Yeah,
these years. I mean, because he could be doing another Piranha or something. I mean,
this is true. This is true. But yeah, at least he, uh, but and he's recognizable.
yes, he is. Have you
Bing
seen the
Ray.
last one yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, they had me worried about his character.
Did it come out this year?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have not. I'm behind. Um, but ultimately, at the end of this movie, I would say that Fu escapes, goes with a couple of gold coins, is able to who he's able to settle the mom's debt. He's able to sell his mom's, I guess, financial bills, the debt for the apartment for until like the year 2000 is what the guy said. Which at that point, you might as well just find you another place. If you can pay it that far up, find you another place. Get out of here. But um, and then but then he felt compelled to go back to save Alice, and it
yeah,
felt like I felt like the end was more of a like he probably discussed it with his sister and his granddaddy and everything. That hey, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go back in there, uh, you know, and try to get her out. I don't know, man, but it just the plot armor, not plot armor. The plot holes are very is bad.
yeah. I mean, I
But
don't think any reasonable person's gonna let a kid go back in that house when they know they're killing people and eating them and
yeah, yeah, it doesn't make sense if you allow your 12-year-old
yeah.
brother go back in a house where he could potentially die. Like it's like it's a 50% chance he'll die. Well actually
Yeah.
higher than that. I'd say it's like 95% chance he'll die. Because these people are crazy. They're crazy.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt they crazy. They kidnapping kids and feeding them and it just
But,
I can't get
but
over the cannibalism in the movie.
yeah, it didn't. It wasn't necessary.
I
Yeah,
didn't notice it the first time I watched it.
I can understand him maybe killing people and then feeding them to the people under the stairs. That makes sense. but them themselves eating the people
See,
makes zero sense.
how I looked at it was they were kidnapping people and slowly feeding off the people. I think that'd be more compelling. But I don't know. It's just they were very weird characters, very insane.
Well,
Not
you know
John.
what I found out that Wes Craven, and I don't know if you say this is a good thing or a bad thing, but Wes had complete creative control with this,
Hmm.
and like the studio didn't no execs hovered or anything.
Yeah,
That Wes do what you want to do. So Wes created Daddy in a gimp suit.
yeah, that was weird. That was
Yeah,
odd. That was
yeah.
I didn't get it.
No, I don't mean
I
either.
mean, I
But
get it, but I didn't get it for this type of
that,
movie.
that's his brain, man. I don't know. But so
Maybe that was
everything he's seen was completely Wes saying, "This is what I want." And I think that for the most part, some people, some auteurs, and Wes is a filmateur. He is a filmateur, like a director. He's like a creative force.
yeah,
But I think he needs somebody to rein him back in just a little bit, just a little
on
bit.
some
I
things. Yeah.
something. Like somebody that I think you don't rein in is a Spielberg. You don't rein in
Oh
Spielberg.
no.
You don't rein in Jordan Peele. I think that you allow them to do their thing. But like a Carpenter is a Craven. You got to rein him in a little bit. You got to rein him in just a little bit.
I
Rob
normally
Zombie,
wouldn't
rein him in a little bit.
agree, but then I've watched quite a few Carpenter films this year, and I haven't been overly impressed with revisiting some of these Carpenter films. And I'm like, did he just not care? Or did he actually think these were good ideas? Like vampires, Escape from LA, Ghost of Mars. I mean, the '90s Carpenter. What I just don't know what he was thinking.
No, no. Needed somebody to rein him in.
I
Just
mean, the
rein
idea sounds cool. Snake back in LA, vampire hunting, Ghost of Mars. Yeah, okay, maybe that's not cool, but the other two did sound cool, and I did like Escape from LA when I first watched it. But I mean, I don't know.
I don't
But
know
I,
what he
I agree
wanted.
with you
I don't
though. I mean,
know what
Wes
he would. Yeah, Ghost of Mars. It was just
Wes
to this
was
man.
mostly hit, but there was a few times he kind of went overboard with some creative choices.
Shout out to my soda keep.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
my soda keep. That
it
wasn't a
was
good.
the werewolf one. Like just uh,
Well, I think with the
really,
problem with
really
the werewolf movies, they try to make it like Scream.
rein him in a little bit. Just rein him in a little bit.
Well, that's just not him though. That's Kevin Williamson when wrote the script. I mean, you had the Scream team, and but it is what it is.
Mm. But
But
we so at the end of this movie, by the way, everybody dies and the people get out and they're free and they're walking around the neighborhood and the neighborhood is collecting money that is spewing from the house because they hoarded money in the basement. Um, then Alice is free.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
You
didn't
ready
really
to get
talk about her though. What was your thoughts
your
of Alice?
she's a plot device. I felt like that. Like she was like mainly the reason for Fu to get back in the house.
Yeah,
Uh, that's it. And I do think that the dad was trying to do some things with her because he probably has done things with her, unfortunately. But yeah, I just felt like she that her fear of what's the outside world. Like I can understand that too. It has some good things, but I think that she was like she did well, but out of everybody that's in the movie, her and Spencer are the most forgettable people.
well, I mean, Spencer has an excuse. He dies early.
Yeah, but literally,
But
like
I agree.
when
I
you look
agree.
at the movie, yeah, you don't think about Alice. You think about Ving Rhames first,
Yeah,
the daddy, baby Foo, and then the mom lady, and then Roach. Like those are the people I think about mainly. I don't immediately think about Alice.
I I don't disagree. I think she was a plot device, like you said, and when you really get to the meat of her character, there really isn't much. She's just held captive, and she's there to help Fool escape. That's about it. I mean, it's there's no great plot armor there. I mean, there's just that's what her job is, and
Mm.
that's all she is. And so, but I thought the actress did okay. I mean, I didn't think she sucked or anything. It's just I think Wes just focused too much on Fool. I really do, and nothing against that guy. I mean, I love him in Mighty Ducks and all that, but I just I didn't think he was able to carry this.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, he had some great like facial expressions,
Yeah,
especially when he hit the dad with the poker and it breaks and he kind of had a look on his face like oh shut, and he runs.
yeah,
It has some comedic undertone. It's more of a dark comedy than it is like a horror, I would say. But
yeah,
it doesn't have really funny moments other than like literally the dad, the man. He's the funniest thing in this movie because he's just I got him, 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 I got him. Just like him just being so unhinged was great. Every time he was on screen, he stole the screen. In
yeah.
my opinion, he stole
And
the scene.
thinking about it, I believe that Wes was I don't want to compare him to Freddy by any means, but what I mean is he created this really dark character, but he made him funny.
Hmm.
Not too funny, but funny enough, where he would steal the movie.
Hmm.
And I really get Freddy vibes in that aspect, where he's a really dark, sinister character, but he has really good one-liners. And so he gets to steal this entire movie and get you the audience to relax a little bit, not too dark for
Yeah,
people.
like the scene where the police is doing the walkthrough and stuff, and he's literally hiding evidence while they're there,
Yeah,
and just like and taking off his hat, wipe off his blood stain, and putting his hat back on, and it's just like I don't even know if West wrote that or if that was that actor just like just doing his own thing.
yeah,
But it's great. It's just great. Um, he's like literally. And unfortunately, I hate that the Brandon wasn't the strongest thing in his film. I don't think he carried it. I think he did well for what he had, but
yeah,
I think that they should have had someone older. If they're going to do a kid, have be at least 16, 17.
yeah.
That is more believable than like a 12-year-old kid. You
I
know,
think at that point in time, when we talk about little kid actors who could have really carried it, I can only think of one. He still's working today. That's Elijah Wood. I think he's a very
it, it,
strong. He was a very
it,
strong child actor, but he became a pretty strong adult actor too.
but I think that if you're
But
doing like you want to do it with a black kid,
yeah,
and
I can't like
um,
I can't think of any.
I would say was that 1991.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, was
I would
Cuba
say
acting back then?
yeah, he
He
was.
wasn't a kid though. He was still he was an
He
adult.
yeah, he was like because Boys and Hood was like what 93 or whatever.
Yeah,
But uh, I would say actually I would if I was to cast someone, it'd be the dude that played Reggie. And how old was he? Would he have been? That was Reggie, the dude from Friday 13th.
part five.
Yeah, Was he?
That was like in '85.
So he would have been way too old, or would he have
Yeah.
been like 16, 15, 16 at the time?
Nah, he would probably been closer to 18 or 19 by
Okay,
then.
well that's fine too. I think that he could have maybe possibly pulled it off. I don't know, or because '91. I mean, honestly, it's hard to really with a black youth kid at that time
Yeah, I'm
acting.
trying to think. I mean,
Only ones I can think of, maybe a very young Don Cheadle would have been good because he was young at the time. Uh, it'd been different maybe if it was like Will Smith because he was probably
he probably would have been a
19.
teenager back then, back
You know,
'91.
he would have been pretty actually. I think he would have been really good in it. Um, yeah, it'd been different film if it was Will.
His
Um,
career path would have been different too, I would
yeah,
say.
but like the first thing he got was like uh eight well, the degrees of separation thing. I don't
Yeah.
know, never seen it. But
Didn't he get Made in America as close to
yeah,
that?
yeah, it was like 90, 92, 93 maybe. So yeah, he would have been perfect though. I think he would have been perfect, and I would have believed him being forced by Bing Rain, an older guy. You got to break in this house with me. You know, if you trying to help, you trying to help your sister. You know, he
Well,
could have been working at like a restaurant. You know, this McDonald's is not going to help pay this bill. Let's go ahead.
I'm just going by, who was cast in Mighty Ducks. I think Keenan would have been better. I think he's a better actor.
Yeah, Keenan would have been better. Um, yeah, Keenan would have been better. I don't know if he's been as versatile though, because he was a heavyweight little kid at that time.
Yeah.
But he's a much better actor. And then with that same understanding, Kel Mitchell would have probably been a really good casting in this movie. Um, from Keenan and Kel, he would have been pretty good too. Yeah, I didn't think about them. Um, uh,
No, I
you
mean they
had
were about the same age, so it's. I was thinking Mighty Ducks cast. It's like,
yeah, yeah, but but nevertheless, the movie was made. You ready to give you a mark for it?
yeah. I feel like you're gonna go high on it, so I'll go give mine. I'm gonna change mine a little bit. I'm gonna go a little higher than I put it on Letterbox. I'm gonna go 3.
Hmm.
I didn't hate the movie. It's just I have some issues with it, and creatively I have some issues with it. But overall, I mean, it's not like I was bored or like I thought this was trash or anything. It's it was a decent Wes Craven film.
Yeah, isn't the best Wes Craven film? No, uh, I give it three and 3.5. Like I give it just 3.5. Essentially, I thought that I like that what Wes was trying to do. I love that he like we black folks consider it like a black film. Yes, much like we do, uh, much like we do Color Purple, even though it's directed by Steven Spielberg, one of our one of the most
That's
classic
probably
films.
the only Spielberg movie I haven't seen.
Oh, I choose it one eventually, um, but yeah, I thought that this movie was I thought it was for its time. It felt outdated. It felt dated now.
Yeah,
Um, but I thought that it could have been a little bit more grimier, um, and more horror filled. But for its time, I thought it wasn't bad. But yeah, it's your choice next week, Brandon. What you choose?
I'm gonna. We talked about this. We haven't. I think about my action stars in the day, and I think we haven't picked a John Claude Van Damme movie yet. So I'm gonna go with one film I think is one of his most underrated films that was a hit of its time, in my opinion. Time Cop. I really want to revisit this movie, and I would love to review it with you. And it's Van Damme. Why not?
All right. So next week will be an Action Junkies episode.
Yeah.
Uh, but all right. Well, I'm happy about that. What do you want the people to do?
If you like this episode and you watched it all the way through, or if you just want to continue to follow us, whatever it is, whatever your choice is, click that like button, click that share button, and subscribe to the Markout Movie Podcast on YouTube and Facebook.
Absolutely. And we thank you for marking out with us here on the Mark Out Movie Podcast. Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
Have a great weekend. Be safe and love one another. Peace.